Hey, that's it. We are here again today with our Amy and Michael, who I want to call Stephen.
Yeah, for some reason. I must look like a Steven. Yeah.
You look like a Stephen, yeah, but you're Michael.
Oh.
This is exciting. I just want to say, give a shout out to everybody from YouTube and
Aw.
Facebook. Uh,
Yes.
Well, hopefully, since the hangout now, you've got a few more people on your channel now.
yes, and that's always a good thing. I never thought that YouTube would get going. I've tried it.
Yeah, I know they like putting yellows against you. I had a yellow thing on the hangout on that one of those hangouts.
See, and I'm clueless on what even that means.
Mm.
But I have suspected that possibly something was going on with my channel, because it just seemed like I don't think I put out the best content. It's certainly not the most advanced technologically with the graphics or anything.
Michael, they don't like people like us.
Right. Yeah,
Because we talk about the things that they don't like any of us talking about.
true.
Right.
True. That's definitely the case a lot of times.
To you're trying to always get back to knowing who you are as a person and whatever I'm saying. We're always trying to get to the people, and they just want this big, massive advert going across those everybody. That's what they want.
Like one giant screening process.
Yeah.
Yes.
Throw so much information out there, and people are like, "Well, what's what? I still got to go to work. Like, I don't have time for this. I got to get to work. I got to pay my bill, and I can't sort through all this info." So they turn on CNN or whatever, and go to church or whatever it might be. Make the wife happy, make sure the kids are on okay with school, and I understand it becomes so real to them. All the connections of the Matrix that just keep drawing you in.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Like Matt from Quantum of Conscious talks about he calls it the knick-knack system, which is Clinton backwards for
He's
Hillary
been
Clinton.
mentioned to me
Yes.
today in messages on YouTube about him, because it's not that we talk about exactly the same things, but Amy
Right,
said
but
that
it's
we talk
interesting
about
because
the same things.
yeah, it's either like a couple days before or after. I'll talk about something, and he's talking about it, and it's interesting because I don't really follow too many mainstream news or even alternative, but it's like we're on the same page almost with these things. They call it what is this? They call it getting a download. Like these downloads are really coming in today, or download, upload.
Yeah,
And
you got in touch with me, didn't you, on Sun and Moon? I think I can't remember, but on Facebook you did.
yeah,
How? Yeah, well, I'm glad you did, because obviously I like, you say some good things. So as you've noticed, I've put a few of your hangouts and things out on the channel.
yeah, I really appreciate it.
Yes.
No, we appreciate you. Thank you. Yeah.
And
Yes.
I like reaching out because you seem like genuine people that you're out there doing your part to shine light on just to be a I don't know what, a torchbearer, a pioneer. I don't know what you call it. There's
Yeah, you
you got to be
too. I think we've got
standing
some
on
sort similar
standing
sort
on.
of things, don't we?
Yes, I mean there has to be somebody to stand in the truth.
Yes.
As cliche as that sounds, or is that it's becoming like a joke now. That they try to make a joke out of the truth movement, and but
That's
it's true.
right.
It's really that's what it's all about. Compassion, um, understanding.
That's right.
Everybody wants to do good. They just need a little help, um, so they can help themselves. Really, I think everybody generally wants to do good to a degree. We just get caught into playing these roles in life and pleasing
Exactly.
authority figures.
But we're all coming together, aren't we?
I think so. But then we got to worry about the advancement in these psyops, and just more send off artists out here and con artists. Um, so as more people are waking up, I think that at the same time they're still bombarding the hell out of us with
Isn't it? 'Cause
disinformation and
it is hard to actually realise it's not just, there's so many levels of this. It's everything. Like, well, I don't know. We've had coronavirus. We've had Harry and Meghan. It goes on and on and on. We've got
I
stuff
think
with
I wanted to
president.
talk about this coronavirus for
Oh,
a
Amy
second.
wouldn't mind that, would you, Amy?
Oh, yeah, that'd be great. I'm
Not to
very
just like,
interested.
mirror every single thing on mainstream news, but I think sometimes it's good to discuss them for
Right.
just learning purposes. What does it mean to us, as individuals and collectively? So the coronavirus, corona means crown. So it derives from the word crown. And like on the top of your head, you think of like a king or a queen. And also, like on the eclipse that we just had with the where you had the light of the sun around the moon, that was in a corona eclipse where you had that ring of fire around the
Yeah.
moon. So it's very interesting that we just had this eclipse and now we have this virus, coronavirus.
Yes.
But
When was the eclipse? I sort of remember that.
this was
When was the?
recent. Wasn't that a
Yeah,
couple weeks ago?
yeah, yeah. I think it was.
Yeah. And so with Wuhan, it's Wuhan, China, is where this all supposedly originated. So this isn't the first time that we deal with Wuhan and deadly pathogens, because if we all remember the SARS virus. So
Mm.
back in 2003, they used the SARS virus pandemic, I think they called it, to start building these deadly laboratories in Wuhan right around the same time. So they've had these deadly laboratories. They call them level 3 or level 4 laboratories, and like I say, right around the same time as SARS. So this basically already happened. It's like deja vu. And then they went up. They got the approval for a level 4 in 2017 in Wuhan, and
Mm.
and they were already warning about the possibility of viruses leaking out of the facility and contaminating people, or what I mean, infecting people. So they were already setting the stage for this when they were putting the trying to get approved for the level 4 deadly pathogen laboratory back
Mm.
in 2017. So it's like old news. It's like a rerun. It's like, you're watching TV and it's the same
Do you know
show.
what that virus says? It affects animals, but very rarely does it affect humans.
Yeah.
It's just ridiculous.
It's kind of like, didn't they say something like that with the swine flu? Was the swine flu as big? Was it even did it even exist in the UK like it did in the United
Yeah,
States? Did
I
it?
think it did. Yeah,
Did it?
yeah.
Okay,
Mm.
well, see, the swine flu was the same thing, man-made patented
It's
virus,
like that
and
horrible thing I had last weekend because I was ill last weekend.
Oh.
I
you
spent
know,
most of the week, well, like when I wasn't making videos, I was in bed.
Yes. You
the
felt
seed.
very bad. Yes.
Just to
Okay.
get off track from this coronavirus for a second, and then I'm gonna go back to it. But you're talking about feeling unwell, and the CDC is the Center for Disease Control over here in the States, and
Yeah.
they admit that 90% of all disease starts in your mind. Now, now, believe me, I understand
What
that.
the like disease, like in your body thing, disease,
Right, like
it's
like you're
disease.
not at ease. There's something that
Mm.
you're not at ease about. It's just
Basically, they tell people that it's out, and then suddenly 5,000 people have got coronavirus.
right,
Oh
right.
golly, is that what you mean? It's like suddenly there's a great big, oh look, everybody's got that, even though nobody's got it.
Well,
Mm.
um, well, back to the coronavirus. It's just, our mind is powerful. So if they start telling us we can get sick, we believe it. Before you know it, we're sick.
Yeah.
There really is some truth to that. Be, but as far as back to this coronavirus, we always assume everything is fake. We're so conditioned now to think everything on mainstream news is fake.
Right.
So what if it would be just as easy for them to downplay the coronavirus. What if this was actually wiping out entire countries right now? Millions of people. And they're telling you on the news, only 56 dead, 5 in the United States. Well, we got 2 in California, 1 in Washington, 1 in Chicago, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And people are just doing memes about, oh, coronavirus, and show a Mexican guy drinking a Corona, passed out. Everybody just laughing it off. Because we're so conditioned now to think that everything is fake. And
That's
they're
true.
just directing it all, like, even within the alternative media truther, so-called truther community, they're directing that as well. And then we have all this enhanced censorship, like that we all see on YouTube. Even like these big mainstream alternative media channels are being censored, right? They've gone from like millions of subscribers to hundreds of thousands, I've noticed in the past few days, and the views have dropped dramatically on theirs. So
Really?
they just, yeah, oh yeah. And then like the whole pages are down. Now, I mean, a guy like Owen Benjamin, all right. Now he's out there talking about Jews on every post. So I could see if they take his down, because he's kind of playing with fire there. Because if you know they're sensitive to censoring, topics about Jews, and they're going to accuse you of being a racist or whatever, if you already know that and you're doing it every day like he was doing, he kind of opened the door for that. So I'm not sure what happened with him, but his whole channel, I think, is down, right? The Owen Benjamin guy. You familiar with him? Yeah.
I've heard of him.
Yeah.
So, but I have seen that on a few channels, but you never know what they do, because they throw a cocktail at you. They could just censor something just to censor it.
Yeah, I was saying the other day, they take the last 30 seconds of the video off, they take your views off, they do other things, they go on, they try loads of different ways they can do things.
And yeah, you're not the only one that I've heard that their videos were cut. So that's another new one that you see
The
more
other
and
way,
more.
it was about Alan Watts. It was Alan Watts saying something, and they just cut the end of the video off.
Right. And it's like, who owns the copyright to that?
Oh, that's very good.
Why
Yeah, because
even?
they cut my video.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They don't.
But they've got the thing that they can do what they want, when they want, how they want.
Right. Right. And that's where the psyop comes in too, because now you're thinking, oh well, what did I really say? They got it cut, and maybe they just cut it just to mess with you. And we're
It
sitting
was
there.
just Alan. It was just Alan Watts saying some words. Like he's just basically saying we're actors, and they cut that bit off.
Right. Insane.
Yeah.
Yep. And then you'll see something like, wow, I can't believe this is still up there. So it's going both ways. They might just censor it just to censor, just to throw it off, or leave something out there because they know it's a volatile subject that is an emotional subject. No purpose.
I would have said that. I would agree with you, but I don't understand why they cut Alan Watts off. There's hundreds of bits of Alan Watts.
Yeah,
They
there
just
is.
like to make it. They just like to make it very. You make it difficult for you the whole time.
I could see that. Yep.
If they're listening in, I call it victimization.
Yes.
Yes.
Because it's happening. I can see. It's one of your hangouts. I was talking to Patricia, and I turned the page, and 100 views went.
Wow.
Oh.
So that video should be at least another 100 more, if not more. I don't know how many other views they've taken off, and how many views I'm really missing.
I have seen videos jump up that I posted, and then all of a sudden, like, this just froze.
Huh.
It was almost like looking like it was going viral. I'll have like 100 likes within a few minutes and like 1,000 views, and then I go back and look, and it's still 1,000 views the next day.
Huh.
Like,
yeah, that's what I see happening. It gets to a certain point, and then they cut it. It's like you're not going to get any more, or like my admin panel. I think it'll say 2,000. It won't go above 2,000 views, no matter who's looking at what. It'll say no more than 2,000.
Right.
That's what it feels like.
And then they make you. It want you to think that you're being attacked and targeted as well. That plays into it. now you think like they're out to get you, and then you can't really speak your mind, your voice is not really getting out there. So now you kind of identify as a victim, and that's where they want. That's what psychological operations are really about. You know,
Yeah,
it's all
mind games. Yeah, like a mind game.
Amy's safe because she's just looking on it. She's not a creator. She just watches and she
Right.
helps me. She
Uh,
helps me. But yeah, she doesn't have her own. She's not got her own stuff going out on her own channel, so she doesn't have to worry about all this, do you, Amy?
Thank God. I know. It'd be very stressful. But
yeah. I think it's yeah, Amy. I think that's the best thing sometimes is just to observe
yes,
and just take it all in. And what does it mean to you? You know,
yeah,
and not feel pressured to just to speak because you
right.
know, and really it's a balance.
And we've
Yeah.
got
So
nifty
just
little Amy racing through everything for us.
I enjoy commenting. I watch the videos and I enjoy, making comments and things like that. But I wouldn't want to try to have my own channel. But one thing that, as far as with taking views off or whatever, or because Karen was saying something about that, however long, like you have to watch a person's whole video, or they actually, you know,
Yeah, that's the golden egg or the golden ticket. That
yeah,
is, they've got to watch the whole of your video.
and
That's what they told me.
yeah, and then so my sister, she follows somebody on YouTube, and this girl was having problems, and what it was, they said you have to watch all of those ads. You cannot skip one ad, or else it affects the watch time or whatever. So from now on, whenever I watch Karen's videos, and it'll be a lot of ads when there, I just let them play all the way
Do
through.
you? How many
From
ads do you get
beginning.
then?
Oh, it's quite. It'll be maybe a couple of minutes worth at the
no,
beginning, and then a couple
Oh,
of
we all get that. We all get that one. Yeah.
yep. And
okay.
my temptation is always, whenever I watch a video, the first thing of anybody's, I just skip the ad. But when my sister told me that, I said, let me not skip the ads anymore. I'm just going to let the whole thing play through, because if that's going to affect the watch time, because I think, Karen, you were saying that they actually
Oh
tell
right,
people
I
they
got what you're
Yeah, the
saying now.
golden
The watch.
ticket. Yeah, they told me that people need to watch the whole video.
I got you. And then there's people who put that in as a joke in the video, like on the intro to their videos. They'll say, "You know who you are. Don't fast forward." And then they'll put that in there as a joke. And then, but I wonder if it matters is if you hit the ad and then you also hit the skip when it gives you the option to skip, or if you just go all the way past the yellow marker and try to just skip it completely, if that matters. But yeah, the watch time. I understand what you're saying. Some
yeah.
people just, they don't like what you say. And if you put up a great big production and
But
you
we
just
don't
kind of
know if they're telling the truth anyway, do we?
no,
Would you
we don't.
trust? Do you? I don't. Well, anyway, we can't say too much because we're on there and we're using it. But I don't trust watching
No,
what they've done to the channel.
yeah, you really can't put too much faith into it because it's not an honest system. I mean, they have their rules that they're supposedly abiding by, and it's,
Yeah, we were talking to Crow yesterday. Well, I was, and he just basically said, if you're on it, you've got to abide by it, and if you don't like it, get out. And
right.
he's the kind of person that will go, like, right, the milk's spilt. Right, don't cry, move on. And in a sense, he's already
But
got
that
another
can
web page.
that could be taken as somebody supporting the system, though. They could be taken as like the wrong way. Like
Crow.
if somebody tells you, "Oh,
We're
you don't
talking to
like
Crow. We're
you don't
talking to
like the
Crow 777 now here.
yeah, but you don't like the U.S. Move out, go to another country." You know,
Mm,
something like that. That could
yeah.
be taken under that light, which makes no sense at all. Right? This is so the same peoples are controlling the entire world, but you want me to move another country to feel better. And then so all of these we got to be careful what we say because um, we don't want to mislead people. So I'm kind of careful about my words sometimes because I don't want to lead people down that left and right paradigm and have them just
No, I think you're being very well mannered because on your own channel you just go for it, don't you?
yeah. Yeah, but those are subjects that I'm comfortable with. I feel like if you've become familiar enough with a subject because you've actually lived it in your life, you kind of have a right to talk about that. It's like you've put the work in. You haven't just talked about it, you lived it. It's like if
Right.
someone asks you, well, what have you done about it? Like, you complain all day about the government and all this and that. Well, what have you done about it? And it's like, well, I lived in a living testament my entire life. What
Yeah.
have you done? And so, but when you get to a certain level of, it's actually humble. Being humble is not what they have really taught us.
What's made, because you're still quite a young person, aren't you? I mean, I
They're-
can see you're a young person. So what's made you change your mind and be like this then, Michael?
Well, I'm 34, and since day one, I've been against authority figures, and that caused just a isolation mindset. So I went from down back up. So like when I was in school, Catholic school, um, I'll tell you guys a story. I was in sixth grade, and remember those desks where you keep your books and your notebooks inside the desk, like
Yes.
like a little homeroom desk. So I
Yeah.
was in one of them old school Catholic schools, and I was just having a real rough day, and I just flipped my desk over and I said, you know what, you're all fake. You're all fake. You're all a bunch of rats. And that went for that went for the teachers too. And I said, none of you are my friends.
Oh.
It's like,
Oh,
you guys don't know God or anything. You guys just pretend. And
Yeah.
I was just real emotional, like crying. Just
Oh.
there's some kind of connection that we have as children that they try to snuff out of you.
Oh
We're
yeah.
close, we're closer to the truth as a child than we really
mm.
realized that we were.
Yeah.
But they'll try to demonize certain aspects and amplify other ones and reward you for other ones until you get so confused. They just send you for another loop. It's a filtering process. School,
Oh.
when they say only the strong survive, there's that, but it's such a sick system that it's just like,
You imagine those little kids saying all sorts of things about where we live, what we live on, and all that kind of stuff, and the teacher just has to say what they've got to say.
That's
and
right.
I, and then I have a couple teachers that were like, they really liked me, and they were in my corner, so to speak. And you remember those teachers and what they had to say, and like, hang in there, Michael, or whatever. But it's just interesting because of the way that we view ourselves is so important. Because as a child, we think it's all real. We do look up to our parents. We do look up to our teachers or whatever our hero, whatever the heroes are that we look up
Mm.
to, whether it's
That's
figure,
right.
whether
Yeah.
it's Superman, Spider-Man, or whatever it is. So
That's right.
yeah,
Mm.
So you were always not for authority. I was kind of the opposite. I was, believed in my government and support, everything, just very, obedient and, now I've seen, well, I'll be 53 years old. So after everything I've seen, I'm not not very for not too pro government anymore. I've seen enough and learned enough, but back in the day, I was so I towed the line and I was all for authority. I always believed in it and all that stuff, but I think it made me a nervous person too. Like I got through school very well. I went to Catholic school and I got through it well, but I think it created anxiety in me. Yeah, I really do. So, but yeah, now, I'm just not the same person because I no longer trust the empowerment or anything at this point. And it's like you were saying, Michael, they we're believing that so much stuff is not true when we're seeing it, like on mainstream media or even on YouTube or certain things. And so we're so almost programmed now to think it's not real. So what one day it's going to be real and we're not going to maybe know, we won't believe it. It's like terrible. It's a terrible mind game that they do. Because,
Right.
yeah,
Because
so one time it will be the real thing, and we're liable to say, well, it's just another hoax or whatever, another, not true thing. So they're really messing with this. I
they
think
really
about
are.
that sometimes, yes. Yeah.
And it's like keep you on from these different angles.
Yeah.
Angle, like angel. Have you guys ever heard of angle being another word for angel?
Mm-hmm.
So
I
it's
have, yeah.
your angle of perception. So it's like a messenger of the truth, but not the truth itself. So like people are angels because they look at life from a different angle. But when you're on the outside, when you're on the perimeter of the circle, you're on the circus. Yeah, you're like the tigers in the circus that you run around the loop or the horse or
Yeah.
whatever it is. They run around they run around the outside. They're like prey. They're not really seeing the whole. They're stuck on a loop. It's and they want you to constantly be swinging attached to one of these angles instead of
Right.
being centered in the center of just existence itself, just truth itself, not having to
Right.
attach to these particular ideas that are only secondary to the main idea, you know. And then when they know and they can identify you and say, well, that's one of those guys, and we created that, so we know everything this guy's thinking because we got
Mm-hmm.
him on the outside of the loop and he's just in the circuit. He's just working for us, working for the machine.
Yeah.
He's on the outside, but we're on the in. So they look down on you and they think you're like an ant to them. I walk over this person. He was dumb enough to believe it. So, like with the eye in the sky symbology and all these psychopaths that we think of that are ruling the world, they're missing an aspect of what they're missing the compassionate aspect of it or the personal growth aspect.
Right.
Because if you spend your entire life manipulating people or getting or making a material gain, with money or material wealth, um, that's what you spent the most of your life doing.
That's
So that means you're lacking in these other areas where all these people that they thought of as slaves, useless, we're all growing, we're all getting stronger. Because as they
right.
they tried to poison us and keep us in the dark, and darkness has like an opposite effect because everything works in opposites. So you put somebody in the dark too long, they start to see a lot of things you wouldn't expect. They become illuminated because of the darkness.
Yes.
Just like it's just way too much light will blind a person because they weren't ready for it. Like with these phones in the hands of all of our children, and they have unlimited
Yes.
access to pornography in their hands from the
Oh
day they're born.
yeah.
And we don't understand that, too much light, too much information, because information could be anything. It's just out there. Now, what do you do with it? How do you internalize it? And then regurgitate it to or reflect that out to the world. What are you doing with it? That's what it all comes down to.
That's
Because
right.
it really is a personal journey before
Yeah.
you could ever, reach the collective. You have to get centered within yourself and get in tune with the nature of yourself
Exactly.
before you can reach anybody else. So
That's right.
that's why
Yeah.
the whole know yourself thing, when you become a 33rd degree Freemason, that's why they chose that as their motto. That's what's written on the back of the chair that they sit in when they become a 33rd degree. It says know thyself. You
Hmm.
and now here at Groundhog Day is coming up here in a few days. in the United States, they do Groundhog Day. I don't know if they do it there because I really didn't research other countries. But Bill Murray is a big. That's a big movie, Groundhog's Day.
Oh
Everybody knows the
yes.
movie, right?
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
there's a lot of symbology in that movie and stuff. But before I get into that, uh, Groundhog Day is in like 3 days here, and that
That's
happens to
right.
be right.
I forgot.
Yeah, and that happens to be the 33rd day of the year because
Mm.
Yeah.
so basically, you think about 33 vertebrae in the spine and the secret secretion or the Christ oil rising up your spine until it reaches your crown, and then it anoints your crown and enlightens you.
Yeah.
We hear about this in like Egyptian initiation and stuff like that. So there's more to these things than just Bill Murray Groundhog's Day, or the groundhog comes out of the hole, sees its shadow. That's your
Yeah.
shadow. It's your shadow stuff like that too. So there's even symbology there. But it's yeah, there's just so much more to these things, and it used to be called Candlemas, by the way. Before it was
Okay.
groundhogs, it was called Candlemas.
I think I heard
Yeah.
that before. Yeah.
There's just more going on than meets the eye.
Yes.
And if we just keep getting our cues from the media and all of our heartfelt connections to this matrix that we think that they want us to feel that are so real and be emotionally tied to, we can never really fully progress because then we stay within those parameters and
That's great.
you know what I mean. So yeah.
Yeah. Uh, Michael, do you follow all the not the numerology, but like gematria or whatever, like with the numbers and that? I've seen that where they take numbers and they can figure out like if there's going to be a certain event or whatever by using certain numbers. It's called like gematria or something. To me, it's a little over my head, but they say once you learn it, it's not that hard. But it's kind of talking like you were talking about the Freemason numbers and stuff like that.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
gematria is not my strong suit, uh,
yeah,
but
either.
I'm sure there's a lot of truth there. I could give
I
you
think
like,
it is
yeah, I
too.
could give you like a small example would be like if you take numbers and you add the sum of the numbers together.
Right.
What's the date?
Yeah,
It's like so today is let's see.
28.
So two and eight is 10, which is one, and then
Yeah, right.
right, and then January is a one. So one and one is two, and then two plus 2020 is six. Because
Right.
so
Yeah,
but I mean just an example. But
right.
the sum of all numbers, and then like Pythagoras was some say maybe a Luciferian connection,
That-
Freemason connection because it was supposedly a secret society. He had passwords and stuff. And,
Yeah.
trigonometry. Some say
Mm.
that he invented trigonometry, created that.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, there's a lot of truth to these different subjects, and I don't think any of them should really be taboo. You know,
Right.
it's just I think when we get so hypnotized by just one aspect, and we devote so much time to that aspect, then we could be shortchanging ourselves.
Yes.
Just kind of hypnotized by what one particular teacher is telling us, um, instead of just really focusing on the whole picture, big
Ex-
picture.
Right.
Because then we get
Exactly.
like tunnel vision is we're focusing so hard on this, so captivated by this one subject or
Yes.
this one belief system that we had, Christianity. We can't let go of it, and then it becomes a crutch to us in life. And then when you focus on something, you're only seeing a small part. Like if I take a magnifying glass and I focus on,
Right.
I'm only seeing only that part. So now I can't see the rest of the page. I
Yeah.
can't see the whole page. So to relax and just let your mind expand sometimes is also the way to go. instead of constantly
Yeah,
trying to focus and constrict yourself, you know. So
exactly.
It's
Yeah,
the whole message as well you want everybody to hear, isn't it?
I'm sorry, Karen, say it
It's the
again.
whole message you want everybody to hear as well, isn't it?
Well, yes. I mean, it's the method is when I talk about like knowing yourself, that's getting rid of like your guilt, shame of your past, like who you felt so compelled to be, like so because we get in life we get they try to make things so complicated, but we
yeah,
get so caught up with living up to what we thought we should be.
yeah.
This is what my father wanted me to be. This is what my mother wanted me. Before we know it, we've spent our entire life uh, being somebody else, wearing just mask on top of mask on top of mask. So the
That's
method, I
true.
do like to kind of do talk about the same things a lot, and the method's not as hard as they would like us to, believe it is.
Yeah,
Just knowing yourself is not trying to be something you're not.
yeah,
I mean, if you're
and
acting in life, you're acting. Like
yeah,
you're conscious that I'm acting. Like if
right.
you know what I mean? It's so
Yeah,
not to,
and then
not to be a
in your
deceiver.
teenage years, yeah, I was just gonna say, in your teenage years and stuff, then you gotta try to fit in with the crowd or whatever, and then you really lose like who you really are because you're trying to have friends and be popular or
and
whatever.
never,
So,
and never ever get out of that mode our entire
right,
life. And
you
that's
don't.
yeah.
That's right.
So and
Yeah,
here's another thing I wanted to talk about with this whole thing of like when people find out, okay, I've been lied to, um, now this is the truth, and now they kind of get these false balls about them. I get these false confidence, like 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 almost like an adrenaline rush. Like you get up, it's like you get up before the judge, like you're in court, and you want to tell off the judge, right? Like you
right,
feel you feel your blood boiling, like you're right,
right.
you're right, but you also but really, what good did you just do yourself? You just told off. You're still in the matrix. You're still in the matrix. Now you just
Yeah.
told off. Now you just told off the judge. So those
Yeah.
are like the adrenaline rush thing that they want you to believe you're really standing on the truth in life. They love for you to attach to those. Oh, I'm standing on my square. I'm really standing on something. They laugh at that. Oh, you're standing
That's
on your square, huh? Like, good. We built that square. It's white or is it black?
that's right.
Because you're still on the checkerboard, buddy. You're still in the computer. you
Yes.
know. So the method's not as hard as they would, have us believe, Karen. I guess is what I was trying to say. But when you start to see how everything is interconnected, so like you could take one aspect and relate that to everything. Like once you find out that one thing is true, start with something small. Start with what you're comfortable with, and then that really can expand your mind. Like when you start to now you see, wow, like this is like I keep seeing this thing everywhere. Like,
Right.
I'm trying to think of an example, but the way that the universe works is it really is interconnected. You know, uh,
Yeah.
trying to think of like Western science here. They say that all cells have memory. So like all cells have a memory of everything that happened to you. Like everything you ate, everything you ever did, and some say like everything you will do, right?
Uh-huh.
So it's like it's just not trying to go outside of that and just basically um, accepting things as they are,
Yes.
just
And you have to know
simple,
yourself.
but
Yes.
it's hard, but it's so simple that it's hard,
Right.
just
Right.
like if you go to court. Here's an example for you guys. If you go to court, they want you to think that you need to go become a lawyer and learn all of these terminologies. I have to go to the bar association. I have to do this, that, and the other. But you don't. You just have to stand up for yourself. Look, they might lock you under the jail, make you sit there for 6 months because you didn't know the proper word. I'm not going to say that's not going to happen, because that will happen too. Because that's to make you feel scared. No, how do I get?
Oh,
I got to get out of here. My children, I got to get out of here. This is terrible, or whatever. But if you stand up for yourself and you just know these few basic words, like don't call yourself a person. Don't call yourself a person. I'm a man.
mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I'm a man.
Right.
Just basic things like that. Um, because they just love to trick people into thinking it's so hard. Oh, I need a lawyer. You go up before the judge, you're almost shaking in your boots. Why are you shaking? You didn't do anything wrong.
Right.
So it's all a mind game. You don't need to know all the fucking terminologies of a lawyer. That's ridiculous. A
Yeah.
lawyer's a liar. Why would I want to know what the lawyer knows? I don't need to know what he knows. I just need to know the truth of what happened. I mean, and that's where they get everybody, to making you sell out and making you commit. No, I need a lawyer. Take away my rights, please. I trust you guys. And it just starts like that. This is everything. Everything is
Yeah.
like, but yeah, that really does expand your mind. If you could find out something that's universal, that is basically, wow, this is relating to everything. That really does help. Start small,
Yes.
Yeah. So
That's right. Yeah.
Thanks for that.
Yes.
yeah, like if they take away your children, many things happen. Somebody else could have had drugs in your house, or let's say a terrible thing happens, like your child had Down syndrome, and they wanted to make you sign all these papers to put them under like government control, and you were like, you know what? No, we got this covered. This is my child.
Yeah.
Take care of them ourselves in our home. Like,
Right.
no, if you don't sign these papers, this child's going to be the ward of the state. And you're like, oh my God, I need to sign these papers right now. And this is how
Yeah.
they do. This is how they get you. It's just like, no, that's my child. But
Exactly.
that's how they get you. They want you to use the word child, but it's my property. That's my
Mm-hmm.
property. So just trickery like that, and you have to wish your property back. Like, I wish,
Yeah.
take your child. You have to go there and say, I wish that my child be returned to me. There's so many key words that they use as trickery to make you feel like you're so small and you don't know anything in life and you're just a little dummy. When
Yes.
common sense, a few common sense words, like, that's my property that came on my body with my wife. She's
Right.
my property. I'm her property. Not just my property. I'm her property too. And these are our property that we made. Nobody else's in the world.
That's
And that's all just like they want you to play their game.
yes.
Want you to sign that paperwork and just
Yeah.
submit. So, and it's
Right.
like, people say, well, why would they do this? Why would they create a deceptive system right next to a somewhat truthful system? Why would they make this parallel system?
Yeah.
Well, it's like this. People want to say everything is so sinister, but nobody considered that if your whole life is darkness and stupidity and confusion, it does really get you to see some things. Like, look at what we've seen, right?
That's right.
Right, and we have to go through all the confusion to be where we are right now. So people really never look at it that way. That's
Right.
part of what the screening process is.
Yeah.
Because when you give somebody too much light, it's a weapon for them. They go out and kill themselves. So now
Oh.
I'm not being an apologetics for the psychopaths that are controlling society, that are abusing us right now. I don't want you guys to get me wrong, but we always look at everything from a sinister side. The eye in the sky, the pyramids, those are all devil worshippers. They're all killing us. And then that's right where they want you to think. Everybody's out to get you,
So
and then they're
we give them too much power. Is that what you're kind of saying? Like, by
absolutely
buying to it?
just like the word
Yeah,
absolutely, Amy. Just like the word government is mind control. So we
exactly.
make the government exist. It doesn't exist without
Yeah,
us, you know.
that's
But we
right.
by us believing in it and submitting to it, the machine keeps rolling. You know, we give it life. We breathe life into something that's basically dead.
Right. Yeah.
Our belief alone is what makes it keep going. And people don't
Right.
understand the power that they have. You know, it's not get up and revolution the way they tell you. You're gonna throw a strike tomorrow because that's the organized strike. It's the
Yeah.
revolution with it's the revolution within yourself. You
Yeah.
know, it really is. And then other people will start to see that, and they can just sense it in their heart. You know, and they'll
Yes.
just relate with it. You know, so
Yeah. I mean,
yeah,
I always thought that the government, with growing up, I trusted it. I didn't know it even meant mind control until a couple of years ago. That it literally means mind control. And, my dad, he worked for the federal government, Social Security Administration, so not one of the really horrible agencies. But I was so proud my dad works for the government, and I just was so proud and everything. And then
yeah,
just
yeah.
recently, yeah, I realized what it really means. And, it's like, wow, I can't believe how much I've changed my, point of view. And I think too, at least in our country, I'm not even sure what all of our rights are, because like you were talking about, if they try to take your child away, and you think that you have to let that social worker in the house and stuff, and I'm not sure that you do, because I've seen
Right,
videos of that where people say, get away, you're not coming in,
right.
and they do end up leaving. But they make you think, like you said, that you have to cooperate and sign a paper and things
And
like that.
right, and that's common law. Like that's a common
Mm-hmm.
law that exists in the UK, the United States, Canada.
Mm-hmm.
If you go to France, you cannot use common law anymore. Like you can't use these
Oh,
simple
well,
things. We're lucky to be here. You know, when they say like UCC code and everything, that
yeah.
the whole world is under maritime law. No, well, I'll tell you what. Each court is different. You know, when you get there,
Yeah.
they would like you to believe that it's all UCC law, universal code. But as far as like the way it works here with common law, that
Mm-hmm.
judge that judge is supposed to represent the judge is supposed to decide to make sure that justice is being done. So
Yes.
you're not required to know the terminology. The judge is
Right.
required to make sure that everyone understands your story, the truth that you said. You know what I mean? The judge is there to make sure that justice is being done,
Yes.
not to help the state's attorney or the other.
Right.
They have these parallel systems going. So once you surrender, now the judge is helping the other side. Now the
Yeah.
judge, because you just said, "I'm here. You know, I'm Joe Mahoney in capital letters, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm just a person. I'm not a man." And so now you've just given up. You know, they view you as a slave. They really view
Right.
you as a slave, and that's what the bar association is all about. It's to
Yeah.
undermine you, and you know, it's a loophole protection system so that they can manipulate the law.
Mm.
You know, and that's
Yeah.
all it is,
Right.
to protect people.
Wow. Yeah. That's right. Just like even with the police, they're supposed to protect and serve, but in recent years, it seems like they're not really, at least some of them are, maybe even a lot of them are not protecting and serving. They can get very bullying to the people. Um,
I
I
got
watched
to,
the, go ahead.
Hey, Amy, I'll say this. I got to tell you guys something. I used to be really militant, almost against
Mm-hmm.
police.
Mm-hmm.
I have some past trouble with police. I have, assaulting police officers on my background and
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that. So I've been there, done that. But police are just regular. They're regular people like me and you. Let's
Yeah,
face it. Let's face the.
right.
Some of them might have been
Um,
bullied in school. There might be a little
right.
truth to that stereotype, just like there's truth to a lot of stereotypes. That's what makes them funny,
True.
right?
Yes,
So
that's
they're just like me.
true.
They fell victim to the system, just like me and you did. And
Yes.
so I have no animosity towards any police officer. In fact,
Right.
I'll even hand over my ID today. Sometimes, depending if I
Really. Yeah.
and I'll say, look at this, buddy, just to avoid an argument. Here, here you
Yeah.
go. And,
Yeah.
and that's where we got to know, like, is it worth the argument to you? Like,
Exactly.
is it worth the battle in your life right now? We have to ask
Yeah.
ourselves things with everything.
That's
So is
right.
that
Not
really
worth. It's not worth the battle.
no, is that really you arguing? Or is that something emotion in you making you
Communication is much better.
much,
Yeah.
much, yeah, much better? So I wanted to jump up ahead, you guys, from that one story I told you up to high school. So 9/11. So up to 9/11, I was about 17, 18 years old when this happened. And I remember the morning. We were in school that morning and they
Right.
were showing it to teacher. This was history class. And the teacher was showing it on the TV. There happened to be a TV in that room. And he put it on
Mm-hmm.
and he goes, watch. And I think
Wow.
the one tower was already smoking. And I
Oh,
don't remember if the second one fell because the buses took everybody home that day. It was a half a day. You see, they
yeah. My
intentionally they
daughter.
intentionally did these things. They sent everybody home. They knew damn well there was no bombs coming to America. The United
Yeah,
States
that
they're all
because
in on.
she was in the
So
6th grade, my daughter, and a lot of people were rushing to pick their kids up. And I said, I'm not getting in some big traffic mess. And, I let her come home on the bus. They came home, like you said, early. But yeah, so
yeah,
that's how it was. Mm-hmm.
this was
And she was
Chicago.
scared.
So this was
You were in
Chicago
Chicago?
that they went home early. They wasn't even I wasn't even in New York. And
Right.
so anyways, then it was as you know, it was on the news constantly after that point,
Yes.
perpetually forever. It's probably still till now. It's based off of that. so me, of course, 17, 18-year-old, a dumb kid. I walked into the Marine Corps recruiting center and I said, you know what? I need you to
Oh,
put me I need you to put me on the front lines right away.
oh,
It's like what? It's like what do you
wow.
mean? And I'm like, yeah. I was like, I need to stop these people from you know
Oh,
from killing our country.
right.
So right, and he's like, whoa, slow down. He's like, this that. So at that time, even though there was all these supposed terror attacks, they still had a delayed entry program. So you
Oh,
had to
wow.
have a 6 month wait, even though there was a
Huh.
terror attack. Everyone thought was a terrorist attack
Yeah.
from Saudi Arabia, Afghanistan, whatever, Iraq, wherever you thought
Right.
it was from. Um, yeah,
Right.
and so that was me. So they have a trick for everybody. So I really thought I was protecting the
Yeah.
country, and so I was in that delayed entry program, and I was there every week doing the physical training and the ASVAB testing,
Oh,
pre-testing, and all that, and winning my concert tickets because they would have like the last man standing.
Ellie?
Yeah, they would do like you'd run a few miles that day, do these pull-ups, and then the last person who hasn't passed out yet, you win these concert tickets. So I was like really in it. I had like bumper stickers on my
oh,
car, like Marie. Marine Corps, and I won like
That's
tickets
when
to
you believed,
Boston.
when you believed all the other stuff.
Oh yeah, and I had like Boston concert tickets. I won Poison concert tickets and
Oh, yeah.
Skid Row. This man, I was like, wow, like these are like old bands too. It's great, like retro stuff. But I like the older stuff. But yeah, so just basically
Oh,
make a long story short, they got a trick for everybody. So we think we're doing good, but as long as we keep getting our cues from them of what's good, what's bad, then they can always use us.
That's why we're here, though, isn't it? Because we don't take it from them; we take our own.
I,
right.
I agree. Yeah, we see that,
I
and we start to
think
move
a
away
lot
from.
of yeah, sorry.
You're either trying or you're not. And I'm
Yeah.
trying not to do what I was. So that's a start.
So
What were we going to say, Amy?
oh, I was just going to say, I think a lot of young men did go and enlist. And I remember back in the Gulf War that an awful lot of guys were enlisting right away when that Gulf War, that was in the early 90s. And I worked at Social Security office, and a lot of guys were coming in to get Social Security cards and stuff because they wanted to enlist so that they wouldn't have to go over as foot soldiers or whatever. And
Right.
yeah, so that was a lot of young men's reaction was, they wanted to fight for the country. Did you end up going?
No, unfortunately, my life would have been probably completely different. I may have never see these small things in our life.
Yeah.
We don't realize how important they are. Like
Oh,
it
I
takes
know.
a split second, 2 seconds of your life changes your entire life. Like if that
Exactly.
recruiting officer would have said, because I had pending court cases, so they could not like
Mm-hmm.
send me right through. Like I had, whether it be whatever it was, the DUI or whatever the petty case was, and then they said that we cannot put you through. And then I said, well, wait a minute, I'm watching people on the news with like murders and burglaries and like armed robberies going into the Marines. Why can't you help me? So
Yeah.
for whatever reason, I never got through. My
Right.
ASVAB was high. My physical test were very high, the highest, and they just would not let me through. So
Yeah.
it was a blessing because instead of going through that, whatever that would have done,
Exactly.
who knows? But now I'm at this point. So our experiences really do mold us.
They
They really
do.
do. They're really powerful. But it's also how we take them in and how we reflect on them.
And then you learn,
It's where
and
our
then
work.
comes along, you learn the truth.
Right. That's
Yeah.
where our work comes in. Because when you're exposed to the truth, then it's what do you do with that? Because it's
I
powerful.
know.
Because then it gives you a higher responsibility in life.
Yeah. There isn't
Because
really
Yes.
anybody to go to, though, is there? There's no one we can go, hey, excuse me, he's doing that or they're doing this. There's nowhere to go and report these people or where to go, and there's nowhere to go. The people have got to do this ourselves. We've got to do it together.
right.
Yes.
We're doing it ourselves, but together at the same time. Whereas their false movements are all about the false unity, where they'll try to rally you around some idea, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whereas the real, like Karen was just describing, is more based on like the personal growth that everybody can relate to because they know you're not, they know you're not making it up because they went through it too.
Yes.
If I went through it, I know you went through it. You felt what I felt, and that's the
Right.
common bond. That's the common bond instead of what they're telling us is the common bond all the time.
Yes.
We
So
don't believe them anyway, do we? We don't
Right.
believe them.
I have trouble
Yes.
believing anything anymore, you
Me
know.
too.
And they even say like in the middle of the word believe is the word lie, you
True.
know. Yeah, so I just have trouble with that at all anymore. I really do.
I know it's really hard to believe anything.
You said it earlier on, though, didn't you, Amy? They're going to put something in as the truth, and we're not going to take any notice of it. That's what's going to happen.
Sometimes I think, right? Sometimes I think that's why they've made up a lot of the stuff that they have. And you know how they slip up in a lot of the things that they put out that are not true. You'll catch people catch it. And sometimes I think maybe that's done on purpose. They want to give you a little clue, like this isn't really real, so that they do get people doubting. And I think that about that sometimes. And then I think maybe they want us to feel that way, like they want us to see it's wrong so that we won't believe. And then when the real thing might happen, we won't believe it when we needed to, like the boy that cried wolf type thing, that story. The boy always says wolf and it's never a wolf, and then when it finally is, nobody believes him, like that type of thing, you know. But yeah, it's hard.
This is how they get away with things, though, isn't it? This is how they get away with ever telling us the truth about anything, because that's
Right.
exactly how they do it. Because now, I mean, it's a bit like, like the thought, like, like last year, all we had was, this oncoming election. It's, and then, Brexit, exit, Brexit, like, and it's just, it's just
Yeah,
like, yeah,
same
I,
thing.
same,
Yeah.
yeah, I just think it's, yeah, well, we all first of all say no, then go and have a look at it, and it could be a yes, but it's usually a no.
Yeah, you mean for the Brexit or
Yeah, well, no, just for all their stuff that they give us,
oh
all
the
the things that they give us, it's a no. You go and research it. It might be a yes then, but it starts using no, because it is.
right.
I think you
Yeah,
both nail on the head. You both are saying the same thing. Just if we keep looking for them for the answers or to direct us to what to look at, when it really is a problem, we're not going to be prepared. You
I
know,
know.
and it's not something as easy as stockpiling ammunition and joining
Right.
whatever good group you think is a good group that they probably control. You know, it really has to do with ourselves. And as selfish as that sounds, is just, oh, I'm just worried about myself. And it sounds like some kind of egomaniacal thinks they're better than everybody, but it's not. It's really not. It's actually being humble because they want
Yeah.
us to think that humble is spreading your buttocks and humble is what, just bending over to anything you've ever been taught to.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's not humble. That's just being a slave.
Right.
Humble is
that's the thing
it's
I'm a
something.
bit shocked about is, everybody thinks that they've got free will. Well, we have got a free will, but what's the word? We're basically living in some kind of communism. That's what we're living in.
Yeah.
We're
Yeah.
not living in a free society with democracy. We're living in something else.
Yeah.
And
I
that's my shock, really. If people just looked and listened to what you're
In
really
the
being told.
in the book, Behold a Pale Horse by Bill Cooper. Now there's talk about, Bill Cooper was even an agent, controlled opposition, along
mm-hmm.
with Bill Hicks and
Yes.
and Alex Jones. And I could
Yeah.
probably I would probably agree that Alex Jones is controlled opposition, whether
Right.
whether he knows it or not, and I'm sure he does by now, especially
Yeah.
within the last few years. So there's I forget what I was going to say. Can you guys refresh my memory? What the last thing we were talking about?
Um.
So with this alternative media stuff, it's like they have these solutions lined up for us,
Yeah.
and they want us to okay, so if it's not the mainstream, it's what these other people are telling us. And
Right.
listen, wait a minute, they're controlling the solution too, because it's
Yeah.
it's problem reaction solution. So we have to understand that it's with this avatar complex and like we want to be like we want to save the world, but the
Right.
thing is, like, because we're still identifying with this Christ figure subconsciously of somebody who sacrificed himself for the greater good of the world. And then see what they've done is they've worked this into even within the atheist community, the same philosophy, but it's just disguised as something else. So what we think is we're working for the greater good of the community, is actually just another scripted revolution. So that's
Yeah, well,
where we kind of are now.
We're told it one way, aren't we? We're told this is why this is happening, or da 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 da. But actually, it's for another reason. That's what's going on. Oh, my daughter's flushed the toilet. Thanks, Ellie. My daughter's got back from work. That's what she thinks. Do you know what I mean? Like, you grow up believing that things are this way and mean that and that and that, and it's only when you get older, when you broken away, grown up, the whole thing, and they start realizing and they start seeing it a different way.
Yeah.
And then that's where the separation and the isolation comes in, the mind control comes in again.
But you know what? But you know, I think you started off by be like, obviously, you just talk about being grown up. You know, that you've got this vision that someday someone's going to come along and magically make it all better for you. Is just not going to happen.
Right.
That's books, films, and you know, other things. You know, we've got to do it ourselves.
Yeah, that's right.
A whole person, or you know, when you're a whole person, it happens because you've done it.
And I think where the confusion comes in is like with this Luciferian movement and saying that, you know, listen, they tried to tell you that Lucifer was the devil. You know, Lucifer's the good guy. You know, join the team. Like, and listen, like, there's some truth to the thing that, hey, look, God is within us all, but you're not God. You know what I mean? You're just somebody that came out of your mother, from your father and mother together, and now you're here, and like you're not God himself.
No.
Okay, so it's a mixture of the two, but you do now have responsibility for your own life and what you do. So they love to keep you in limbo. They want you to be the Christ or the Antichrist, but never yourself. You see,
Oh,
so they want to tear you, divide you from the center point of what you are, of who you are. You know, I don't need to be the bad guy or the good guy. Especially not in the sense that you're telling me of what the bad guy is.
You don't need to be either one of those, but people do like hearing you talk, don't they? about things. So you know, yeah. But the good guy, the bad guy.
It's good cop, bad cop. It's like there's 2020. Here we go. And it's just like Amy said, if they really do something now, are we really going to be ready for it?
That's right.
You know, the underground bunker is really nice. I think that's probably going to help some people. But we all don't have the capability to build a personal nuclear bomb shelter.
Right.
With everything that we need to survive down there, to keep the poison from the above from getting down there and all that. Not to mention that, you know. So so before any of that even comes to play, we got to mend our own hearts that have been.
Yes. Yeah, I agree.
Without that, we really can't see straight. You know, they say it's all in the mind. It's all in the mind. Well, a lot of it's in the heart too.
Oh,
a lot of it's in the heart too. You can't have one without the other. The heart is everything. The heart is the heart is like the universal impulse. Yes. Right? Where it all started from. Exactly. You know, where they show like when somebody's conceived and they show that light flash in the uterus, they show that flash of light. That's the light. Like,
and that heart beats.
You know? Mind you, if you've grown up and know who you are as a person, then the rest isn't so bad, is it? It's those that don't know who they are and what they want is the people causing the problem. Sorry, that's just what I think. The more you understand, the better life is, because you don't have to worry about the gaps. There's no gaps.
I think a lot is driven by money in our society. That's what a lot of people just kind of focus is money and make even kind of success and fame, like, that they look good in the public eye, or even if it's just at their workplace, that's how they make their identity. But that's not really the way to do it. You got to, like you said, like Michael said, it's in your heart. You got to start with your own heart. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Mm.
it's in levels. You want to put a different mask on for this person because now you're Jesus. You know what I mean? Now I'm at work, so I have to be this version of Michael. And when with my family, I'm this other version. And when I'm
Right.
with friends on Facebook, I'm my real self.
Is
Or
that my
YouTube.
video? Is this my video from yesterday? We're all actors.
Is that what it
Yeah,
is?
we talked.
Yeah, the video yesterday is Alan Watts. He's talking about
Oh yeah,
we're just
yeah.
basically a bunch of actors.
We really
Yeah.
are. We
Yeah.
really are. And it's
Mm.
just even in the word act or actor, it's an act. Like it's not you. See, it's
Right.
really easy if you could blame everybody else. It's really easy to not blame yourself. But
Yeah.
then they want you to blame yourself. That's the other extreme.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, so it's in between there. So it's like, what's that Metallica song? Um, I can't be unforgiven.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, right. I label me. I label you. So I can't
Hmm.
be unforgiven. So you're just constantly labeling everybody. Label
Yeah.
myself. I'll divide myself. I'll divide you. And this way I'll never take the full blame. I'll never
Right.
take full responsibility. But
Yeah.
then society tells you that you are responsible because they want you to be responsible for them and
Yeah.
everything that they're doing to you and all the
Yeah.
evil that they're doing to people. They want you to relate to that. Like, that's you. Like, that
Yeah.
was you doing it. And then they get you to go vote. And then you're
Right.
even further enthralled. You're further into the system, like that, really believing it now.
I
Because now you're
know.
voting for the guy and like now you're a part of it. So it's all in the
Yeah.
mind. We really don't see how strong the mind is. The
I think
mind is
you
everything.
get that far in, isn't it? You've been that far in, and now we've had to turn around and sort of walk away from everything that we know.
And that's where
Yeah.
the separation comes in, Karen. And that's where they want you to start feeling alone again.
Mm.
Because who wants to leave all their friends and family that they've,
That's what
if
happens, though, isn't it? Nobody. Once you wake up, there's nobody. There's nobody around, is it? Like you think,
yeah,
well, I've got nothing in common with them, and everybody else is in other places,
right. If we
over there, over there, over there.
if we were even fit to have any of those friends, some of us never even had those. We got shunned from the beginning.
No.
We never had anybody.
Oh.
All right. So it's duality all over again. And then to make you feel sorry for yourself or to make you
Mm-hmm.
feel special and above others. Like, look at the consciousness I have. I see it all. I know everything. This is getting boring. I'm the perfect person, and these people just don't get it. It's like it's all a game. Like,
Yeah.
play your role. Like, if you want to play the role, really play your role. So now you have the
Mm-hmm.
option. If I want to act today, I can act, but I know I'm acting. So
Yeah.
I know I'm pretending. You know what I mean? So it's different from somebody who has to do it like they're really living the Matrix, like they're in the movie. Like we're
Right.
actually outside of the movie, kind of looking at the movie a little bit right now at this stage. We're actually
Yeah.
see the whole thing as a movie, and we're almost like in the director's chair. We're not really quite. We're looking at the director too, and like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, who are you?
And
And like trying to find out who he is. We might never even get there, because who knows? Like the Rothschilds, we think Rothschilds. That's nobody. That's a puppet for all we know. That's the bottom of the barrel for all we know.
you think they're the
That's just who they told us to look at.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
I talk about Adam Weishaupt and George Washington.
Mhm.
So George Washington was the first president over here in the United
Mhm.
States, and Adam Weishaupt is supposedly the founder of the Illuminati. And this stuff happened around the same time.
Hmm.
And you got some conspiracy theorists even saying that they're the same person. Well, obviously, I'm not going to say.
Well,
I'm not going to say
there-
obviously. I'll say that they're all evidence is pointing that they're not the same person. But what I'm
uh,
going to say is that they want you to. All we know of Adam Weishaupt is he's the devil. He's Satan incarnate. He's the guy behind like the eye in the pyramid, and this is the guy who tried to take over the world, enslave
Yeah,
humanity.
we've only got their word for it that it's him as well, because we just don't know, do we anymore? There's
No,
people.
we
There's
don't
going
know
to be
who
people
wrote.
and places and names. They're just things.
That's what I'm saying.
yeah.
That's why it's all the more important to know yourself. This is why it becomes all the more important. So a guy like Adam Weishaupt, for all we know, that he was a good guy. For all we know, he was on our team.
Hmm.
That he wanted to get us to see things for ourselves and stop being so connected to government because there was something wrong with the government at that time. It was being
Hmm.
run by the crown. It was being controlled by the crown at that time. So
Yeah.
Weishaupt, was like, for all we know, he was some philanthropist who thought he could actually change the world. Instead, like you see Bill Gates, who's playing the role, vaccines and
Yeah.
not doing shit for the education system, making shitty ass fucking computers. Sorry for the swearing. The guy like that, a guy like that is like, okay, well, what if there was actually good people in the past and they totally destroyed are controlling the script? Because that's
Yeah.
what they do. They always control the script. You
Right.
know, even with the martyrs like
That's
JFK.
awful, though, isn't it? When I just hate that they can make a whole group of people believe something that's not real. I
And here
hate
Right.
comes
that.
Black History Month. Now that you
Yeah.
say that, and here comes
Right.
Black History Month in the States. It's huge, huge,
Yeah. It's
huge.
huge.
Malcolm X, uh,
Hmm.
Harriet Tubman, all of these figures that really were sellouts for the system. Unfortunately, they were just a part of the system, the machine.
Oh,
They utilize, they immortalize people intentionally to have a psychological effect. So when they make statues of these people, Abraham Lincoln
yeah.
statues,
Hmm.
MLK statues, that is there to have a psychological. There's no there's it's not a mistake that they're still talking about these things every year.
Yeah.
It's absolutely intentional because it still has a huge effect on the mind. And what
Well,
we're
I'm curious.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
oh, Michael, Harriet Tubman. Now you're saying that she was like playing into the system or something
Okay.
because, or if I understood you correctly,
Yeah.
because all I ever heard of her is was like kind of like a hero or a heroine or whatever.
Yeah. So I'll
So
talk about yeah, I'll talk about that a little bit. So Harriet Tubman, the female branch of the Freemasons are the Eastern Stars.
okay,
So okay, and
yeah,
that's what they're known as here in the States, the Eastern Stars. It's basically a pentagram instead of the compass and square. But
okay,
basically, the Tubman was just some woman who was used to create this whole movement, and more than what physically what you saw happen, like the
mm-hmm.
Civil War and
Mm-hmm.
the freeing of the slaves. What is way more important than that is the psychological effects that has on people hundreds of years later in 2020. It's
Wow,
far more important than what actually happened then.
Mm.
But to understand today, we need to really look at back then. So basically, if you don't really know much about the United States, it was formed on Freemasonry. It wasn't formed on Christianity. It was formed on Freemasonry intentionally
mm-hmm.
from the beginning, before even Columbus came over here.
Wow,
Even Columbus came over here. It was already in the works. The whole thing. He came over here. He wrote his first letter on the 33rd day.
Wow.
When he wrote his first letter back to the king, it was on the 33rd day in 1493 when he wrote the first letter back. But anyways, so listen to this. So Harriet Tubman, she supposedly led these slaves through the tunnels to freedom, right? But these
Right.
tunnels, all of these tunnels were dug. These tunnel networks were dug by the Freemasons.
Oh, I
Same
didn't even.
people, like for example, Skull and Bones
Yeah.
was founded by a guy named Russell, William
Uh-huh.
William William Russell. Now he was a very strong advocate of freeing blacks. He was
Uh-huh.
an abolitionist. He was the founder of Skull and Bones. The same
Wow.
person. The same person. George Bush Senior,
He was.
George W. Bush. These are the same people who belong to that group.
Yeah.
Prescott Bush. So Taft was the co-founder. So you can go
Uh,
look up both of them. He was also very strong for African American rights. Taft founder. So they do these things. They're like, okay, listen, we're gonna free you guys. You know,
right.
and then you come out the other side, and now the whole country's enslaved. So
Exactly. Yeah.
so oh, come on, come to the north. Now
Mm-hmm.
everybody's enslaved. Now you're
Right.
all just considered slave. White, black, Irish, anything.
Yeah.
Now you're all slaves because
Well,
you
we've
thought
seen we've seen something like this already, because it was just me looking at history, and I was just looking things up, and what it seems is that, and when everybody was coming to America, being promised some land and all that, basically you were quarantined, and then you had your children taken off of you. And this is what populated not just America, but they did it to Australia, children to Australia. They were doing it into the Second World War. That's what Hitler was.
Yeah.
He was the same thing. He was part of it.
Yeah.
He was part of that.
Hitler.
No, sorry. He was probably doing loads of things. That was part of what he was doing. Because obviously, there's usually one, two or three or four or five or six reasons why they're doing something.
Right.
Well,
But I'm just
yeah,
saying that was one of the things that he was into, was that. That's what Auschwitz and people like that were all about. They were taking their children.
Yeah. Yeah. Karen made a lot of videos on her channel about that, on her Unscrambled channel. So yeah, it was very interesting.
it's just like
So
if they tell you that Hitler was this evil guy against all Jews, and the guy who funded him said, you know what, I'll fund you all this money, I'll fund you all these materials, but you have to kill all these people here, or whatever. I'm just giving you,
mhm.
Hitler was. I'm not saying this is a good guy, a bad guy, or he might have been a pretty bad guy. If some of the stuff is true, he's pretty bad, but he's not as
Mhm.
bad as some of these people who
Yeah.
live today. You know what I mean? So,
Well, he had a part to play, didn't he? He had to take the children.
because
Just
they have a
like,
trick for everybody, you know. If he really believed the Jews were the cancer of the earth or something like that, and he tried to help the world, and that's the farthest fetched
Mhm.
scenario. The other one is he was just a puppet from day one. That he was
well,
brought
he was
up.
actually doing something else, I think. And
That Mein Kampf was a ghost written book. It was ghost written by somebody else.
Oh.
That he was essentially what's equivalent of any president today on the world stage being used. You just saw so much. There was so much going on there that made it all real. Bombs
Yeah.
being dropped, people dying, this, that, and the other. The treaties of this, the treaties of that. The creation of the state of Israel. They make it real. They want to make it real.
could I just say we've been
So
going for an hour and a half now, by the way. I just wanted
yes,
to keep in people's minds. Obviously, you haven't quite finished, Michael. Sorry about that. I just thought I'd get that in. I just suddenly realised we've been going for nearly an hour and a half, because we're so into our hangout, aren't we?
I know. It doesn't feel that long. Yeah.
It's not. None of this stuff's good, though, is it? Do we not?
It is good though. That's what I'm saying, Karen. No, that's the one thing I want to say. Is that this is a good thing because um, I really believe there's something else behind this here than just the evil side of constantly. There has to be. I don't believe it. I sense it. I feel it. I just feel that there's some kind of benevolent.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, you put all these people on the world stage, you make them feel special, right? They are making bad decisions. They are taking advantage of the population of innocent people, right?
Yeah.
We can all agree on that, right?
Yes.
They are poisoning, murdering, raping the population, keeping people in poverty, and but think about the reaction that creates. It creates people that would have never come to this consciousness right now that we're at.
Yeah.
So I'm not being an apologetic for like, okay, these maniacs had to do this to control all these beast animal
Right.
subhumans to keep us all in line. I'm saying that there might have been a greater plan here. Like you were either going to get this or you weren't. Like you were either going to catch on to this or you weren't. And this is the way to truly see who was who. So they purposely put these people in power to make them think that they were somebody, and now those are the ones being led to the slaughter. Like we're safe. We're safe. Those are the ones who have. Those are the ones who have to live with themselves every day now. What they've
true.
done. What they have.
I don't know how they do it. Some of these
What they
people, I
have
don't know how
done.
they do it.
Because you can never get away from yourself. What they have done to us. They're going to live with that.
Yeah.
They're going to live with that. And so that's why like I said, it comes back to knowing yourself and just being true to yourself.
Yes.
And that's such a mystical thing as they would have us believe. Such a hard thing to acquire. I must be a Freemason, or I must be a super genius to see these things, or else I'm just going to be a dummy my whole life. No, everybody has great gifts.
Yes.
The truth is just, you could think you're a whole group of wise men, right? And then a child walks in there and just sets them all straight.
Right.
Totally unlearned, like he's never read a book before. He just goes in there with just common sense and just shames all of these. And that's how God works,
Yes.
Any truth to God, that's how God works. He's just there. He doesn't care who you are. He's just there.
Yeah.
He's always there.
I did hear you say that, Lucifer might be, he might be, he's not who we think he is either.
Well, Lucifer
kind of use it as a taboo with the Baphomet symbology, and they mix it in with Satan to confuse people. I only said that to get people to expand their consciousness, not to say to attach to Lucifer or some kind of idea.
You're trying to get everybody to think and think, can't you? That's what you're doing. Sorry, Amy, what were you going to say quickly?
Oh, I was just going to say, because Lucifer was, the way we were taught, and I guess, Michael, you were Catholic, or at least learned some Catholic, if you went to Catholic
I was Catholic
school.
from all the way from 1st through 8th grade. I was in a Catholic school all the way. Yeah.
Me too. Yep. And so we were taught that, when God created everything, and he created the angels, and he created Lucifer, and we were taught he was the most beautiful of all the angels, and that his name meant light bearer, and God really loved him, but he turned against God. He wanted to rebel against God. He thought he was better than God. And I guess we're kind of taught like there was a war, and then Lucifer was cast out, and kind of became Satan. That's kind of how our church teaches it. And I think the only thing I was going to say about if you follow Lucifer, the Luciferians are, I was reading about them, and they're some of the like really bad people in our society. They follow Lucifer, but they don't worship him, but they like his ideas. Like, just
Right.
they're all about their self. It's not about like, it's
Right.
just all about let me get what
That's
I
what,
want, like
and
that kind
that's,
of thing.
thank you,
Yeah.
Amy. Thanks, Amy. Thank
Oh,
you for saying
you're welcome.
that's what, you know what I mean? And that's what it's about. They want to attach it to, so now the best psychopathic philosophy to control the world is just to make like Lucifer just some philosophy now. So now it's just not a real person. It's not a
Yeah,
real. It's not a real. It's not like the orb of light. It's not Amun Ra.
you're
It's just
right.
like some philosophy for I'm better than you and I can step all over you and shit on you my whole life because I
Right.
know because you're just slave to me. You know,
Yeah.
they move all the they manipulate these philosophies. That's what I said.
Yeah.
That's why I talked about Washington and Weishaupt. Okay,
Right.
they're gonna tell you one is the devil, the other one was God. You know, Washington was this great guy who wanted to make a great country. That's
Mm-hmm.
it's preposterous both ways. You know, because
Yeah.
they're still trying to work within the system and work for the same governments.
Right.
You know, and there you go.
Yeah.
Great note to end on. I
Yeah.
mean, we
Yeah,
really,
maybe it's yeah.
Amy, you really put it down there. I'm like, I was like, wow, she really just put it all out there. You did. Yeah, that was good.
Oh,
That was really good.
well,
Yeah.
yeah. I have my train, my learning and
You
everything.
had your thinking cap on right there, for sure.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, if we finish this hangout on here, we will say goodbye to each other when I've pressed the button. But shall we say goodbye on here then, and then we'll end up because now we've got into a conversation, haven't we? But sorry everybody, we've got to
Oh,
go. Michael and Amy, thank you so much for that conversation.
thank you.
I just want to give a shout out to Facebook and YouTube. Thank you, everybody. You know who you are.
Oh.
Oh, all right, Stephen.
Or
Anyway, it's not. It's
Michael,
Michael.
whatever. Either one, right?
Yeah.
As long as it's not Lord Stephen Christ, right?